Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name's Kevin. If you've ever been in a relationship where you wake up wondering what mood your partner might be in or whether they'll reply to your text today, this story will probably hit home. Stick around, because I'm going to share why saying yes to just being friends turned out to be the best decision I never saw coming. Let me take you back to where things first started unraveling. Barbara and I had been together about 8 months when I noticed something unusual. Anytime we had what I thought was a normal disagreement, maybe I made plans with my friends without telling her first or did something small that annoyed her, instead of talking about it, she would just shut me out. We didn't live together, so her version of silence meant no texts, no calls, nothing. My messages went unanswered, my calls straight to voicemail. Meanwhile, her Instagram showed her laughing with friends, clearly fine, just not speaking to me. The first time it happened, I assumed she was genuinely upset and just needed some space. So I gave her a day. Then I sent a text apologizing and asked if we could talk. Nothing. Another day passed. I called straight to voicemail. By the third day, I was going crazy, replaying our last conversation again and again, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. When someone you care about suddenly freezes you out, it makes you question everything. On day 4, she finally texted back, acting like nothing had happened, asking how my day was. No mention of the silence, no explanation, just back to normal. And I was so relieved to hear from her that I didn't bring it up. This became our cycle. Every few weeks something would upset her. Often I had no clue what I'd done, and she'd go quiet for days. I'd spend that time spiraling, analyzing every interaction. Then she'd come back like nothing was wrong. I'd be so grateful she was talking to me again that I'd pretend everything was fine too. Eventually, I started changing my behavior just to avoid setting her off. I'd second-guess plans with friends. I'd put my phone away the moment she was around. I'd agree with her even when I didn't really agree, just to keep the peace. I was tiptoeing through my own relationship, though at the time, I didn't realize that's what I was doing. The thing about dating someone who lives across town is that when you argue, you can't just meet up to resolve it. You're stuck with texting and phone calls, which is like trying to perform surgery with oven mitts, clumsy and frustrating. One fight stands out in my memory because it was so small, it's almost laughable now. We were supposed to grab lunch on a Saturday. I suggested a sandwich spot we'd been to before, and she said it sounded good. But when I arrived, her energy was off. She told me I always picked the same places, barely making eye contact. I reminded her she'd agreed to it, and she shot back that just because she said it was fine didn't mean she actually wanted to go. How was I supposed to know that fine actually meant I hate it? The whole lunch felt tense. Every conversation, attempt was forced. When I asked if she wanted to do something after, she said she had plans with her roommate. When I offered her a ride, she insisted on taking an Uber. By that evening, she had stopped answering me altogether. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, nothing. Over 3 days, I sent 6 texts trying to talk things through, telling her I thought it was just a misunderstanding. Tuesday morning, she finally texted saying she'd been busy with work and asked if I wanted dinner that week. No reference to the fight. No mention of ignoring me for 4 days. Just an invitation like nothing happened. And here's the thing. I let it go because I was exhausted from the drama. I would take any version of her that wasn't angry at me. By the 2-year mark, I felt like I'd been holding my breath for months. Seeing her name pop up on my phone made me anxious. I'd catch myself rehearsing conversations in my head, trying to say things in a way that wouldn't trigger her. My friends noticed I seemed stressed all the time. I didn't know how to explain that I felt like I was constantly failing invisible tests. Our final big fight was over something ridiculous. We were texting about weekend plans, and I mentioned my cousin's birthday party. She replied with a simple, okay. But I knew her well enough to know that okay wasn't okay. I called and asked if she was upset about the party. She said she wasn't. I said she seemed upset. She asked why I was trying to make her upset. Somehow, I went from checking on her feelings to being accused of causing a problem. That was how every argument went. I asked if she wanted to come with me to the party. She said she wasn't invited. I told her she didn't need an invitation, but she cut me off and told me to just go to my party, then hung up. By Thursday, the silent treatment was back. Friday passed with nothing. By Saturday night, I was so stressed I almost stayed home. But I went. The whole night, I was glued to my phone, making excuses for why Barbara wasn't there. Days went by with no response. I wasn't even angry anymore, just worn down. Then Wednesday night, she texted saying we needed to talk and asked to come over after work the next day. My stomach dropped. We need to talk had never led anywhere good. She arrived at 6:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I'd been watching the clock. She sat stiffly on the edge of my couch, purse in her lap. I sat across from her and waited. After a long silence, she said she'd been thinking about us and thought we should just be friends. And here's the weird part. The first thing I felt wasn't sadness. It was relief. I told her, okay. She looked surprised, like she expected me to argue, beg, or plead. She repeated, okay. I said, yeah, okay. After 2 years of walking on eggshells, of decoding moods, of feeling like I was always in trouble, it was over. She asked if I wasn't upset. I told her I was tired of wondering if she was to talk to me or ignore me for a week, tired of always feeling like I was failing. She nodded and said we just wanted different things. I agreed. We handled the breakup logistics. Her stuff, my stuff, and then she left. When the door closed, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. The first few weeks were strange. I'd still catch myself about to text her when I saw something funny. But mostly I felt lighter. I started hanging out with friends again. Without worrying Barbara would be upset, I didn't invite her. I could just live without constantly managing someone else's emotions. About a month later, I ran into Amanda, Barbara's old college roommate, at a coffee shop. We'd met plenty of times while I was dating Barbara. Amanda was always easygoing, funny, no drama. She asked how I'd been, and for the first time in a while, I said good, and actually meant it. We sat down and caught up. I told her Barbara and I had broken up, but that it was for the best. Amanda said sometimes two people just bring out the worst in each other, and I appreciated that she didn't trash talk Barbara, just acknowledge it didn't work. Soon, Amanda and I started hanging out once a week, coffee, lunch, movies. It was refreshing to be around someone who said what she meant, with no games, no silent treatments. Yes, I was attracted to her. Amanda was beautiful, with dark hair and striking green eyes. But neither of us was in a rush to turn it into anything more than friendship. 3 months later, Amanda and I were at a farmer's market when I ran into Barbara's co-worker, Jen. We just waved, nothing more. The next evening, Barbara called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. She asked how I was, then brought up seeing me at the farmer's market. I told her I was there with Amanda. She asked if it was a date. I could have explained, but honestly, it wasn't her business anymore. I told her we were just hanging out. She asked if we could have dinner to talk. I said no. Being friends didn't mean rehashing our feelings. She asked if I was going to date Amanda. That's when I realized Barbara hadn't changed. She still wanted control. Over the next few weeks, Barbara tried to interfere, calling Amanda, trying to convince her I was controlling or that I was using her to make Barbara jealous. Amanda started showing me the messages. They were so over the top, they were almost funny. And here's what surprised me. Months earlier, I would have been crushed by Barbara saying those things about me. Now, I just felt grateful she was revealing her true self to Amanda. About a month later, a mutual friend told me Barbara had been seeing someone else while we were together and broke up with me when that relationship got serious. Suddenly, everything made sense. Her asking to stay friends, her sudden interest when she saw I'd moved on, her attempt to sabotage my friendship with Amanda. She hadn't been looking out for me. She'd been keeping me as a backup plan. When her other relationship fell apart and she saw I was moving forward, she panicked. When I told Amanda this, she said it all made sense and that I'd dodge a bullet. Looking back, I learned a lot from this whole experience. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Healthy relationships don't require constant emotional management. And sometimes, the best thing someone can do for you is leave. Barbara thought she was being clever by asking to stay friends, but really, she set me free. Today, Barbara and I don't talk. Amanda and I still hang out, and whether it turns into more one day or not, that's fine. Being with Barbara was like living in a windowless room. I didn't realize how badly I needed fresh air until I finally stepped outside. If you're in a relationship where you're always walking on eggshells, where simple conversations feel like navigating a minefield, listen to that feeling. Don't confuse drama with passion. Don't stay hoping someone will change. Sometimes, letting go is the healthiest choice you can make.